Hello all, and welcome back to the Smokey Scale. Today we are going to be continuing the monthly music and review series as I'm going to be going over my thoughts and reviewing a few albums I listened to during February 2023. I'm not going to take any longer, so let's get into it. Illmatic is considered one of the best 90s hip-hop albums, and for a reason. It should be very meaningful if you know the history of what was happening at the time in New York City. While I did find myself bored a few times, I think this album has remained as a historical project which has aged quite well. It has interesting flows, old school production which is like ear candy to me on certain songs, especially on New York State of Mind. If there's anything else I could say, it's that the highs were very high and that there are no lows on this debut album. I give Illmatic a 90% on the Smokey scale. Rodeo was a very disliked album by critics, but is it actually as bad as they say? Well, it isn't. In fact, it's actually a good debut trap album from Travis. Comparing this album to the ones that came after, I still think that this is his best by far and highlights his talents the most with very few lows. I give Rodeo a 75% on the Smokey scale. I've never been a fan of EDM music or Skrillex in general, but when I heard that this would be their first album in over a decade, I had to go listen. All in all, it's actually a good EDM project, which is not what I was expecting whatsoever. There are so many great ideas here, with excellent production on almost every song. My only gripes on this are with some of the vocal choices and production choices that feel very generic sounding. But either way, it's still a good album. Quest for Fire gets a 75% on the Smokey scale. The other album that was released alongside the album I just talked about by Skrillex is a far cry in terms of quality from it, and I mean that negatively. Less interesting, only a few good songs, and I have no reason to ever come back to this. Don't Get Too Close gets 25% on the Smokey scale. The older album released by James Blake that features the likes of Metro Boomin and Travis Scott is a better album than his 2021 project, the most previous, at least in my opinion. It has a strong start, and even though it does get off the rails around the middle, it still manages to pick up and continue being good. All in all, it's a good album. Assume Form gets an 80% on the Smokey scale. His latest album ends up being an interesting project all around with good production, but some alright performances. Is it as bad as people say it is? Absolutely not. Could it be better? For sure. In a way, this album proves to me that Don Toliver still can deliver an album that isn't outright terrible, but it also proves that he still has some more work to do before he delivers something great. Lovesick gets a 60% on the Smokey scale. Well, that seems to be all there is to talk about. How did you like this video? Would you want more of it in the future? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to join my Discord for early announcements. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.